on to the actual topics, my G.
Mm-hmm.
We have something going on with the end. Well, before we get into that, let's talk about something that happened this past weekend, or this past Sunday, with Steve Smith and Jerry Jeudy, and what happened between them, because it's starting to look like a lot of athletes in general, but professional athletes for sure, can't take constructive criticism. So just in case y'all don't know, what happened was Steve Smith was talking about first round draft pick Jerry Jeudy, who plays wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, and he was calling him a JAG, which is antonym for just another guy. And he didn't live up to the expectation that a lot of people think he should have with a high first round pick. And does he have a point? Yeah, because but I don't think that's a lot of Jerry Jeudy's fault, to me personally.
Yeah.
Because being in the organization that he's in with the Denver Broncos, and he's actually a really good wide receiver, but he just hasn't had he hasn't had the quarterback consistency that he should have. They haven't had much of a running game in a very long time. So he just in a situation where that offense just isn't moving the way that it probably should. But it's to a point where there's a lot of players who can't accept criticism, and I want to say it's just this new generation, because with us, when we were coming up, we were a little bit different in the way that we took coaching and took the way that we learned different things about the game and about life itself. The generation that Jerry Jeudy is in, a lot of stuff, the way I feel is a lot of stuff was given to a lot of these newer athletes these days, where social media is in the mix, and the AAU and the Pop Warner circuit is a little bit different. And a lot of these kids who are megastars, whenever they were coming up in high school or Pop Warner high school and the college ball, a lot of things were given to them, and they were coddled in a lot of ways. We weren't coddled at all. We had our ass beat every single day. Like, I remember like 2-a-days, sometimes 3-a-days, and we had everything was a competition as far as your position. Like, some of these guys now don't got to work for nothing. And the criticism portion of it they don't take it well, because they've never heard anybody tell them, oh, nah, nigga, you ass. Like, this game you were ass. This is what you need to work on. Or you're not looking so good this season. You need to work on this, or you need to step your game up. They're not used to hearing that. Yeah. They used to hearing, oh, now you straight. You're going to get it together. Don't worry about it.
I challenge that a bit, though.
What's up? Talk about it.
I challenge the fact that everything's being given to them. Because these athletes today definitely put in the work to be where they are, whether they are professional or amateur athletes. I mean, you do have your one case or off case scenarios, or rare cases where you have just a naturally gifted athlete who doesn't do any work, doesn't do the work necessary to be who they are. But for the most part, you do have athletes today putting in the work to be in the position that they are. I think the caveat to all of this is social media. It is the good and the bad of social media. So they can use social media to promote themselves as top tier athletes, but social media can also be used to tear them down as well. We've always heard they like to build you up to break you down, and social media is in fact that. And so I just, that's the only thing I really challenge is that portion of it, is that I don't think they have been coddled to a degree. When you do have a top tier athlete, because this generation is a bit different from generations past, where you can't really tell them much negativity, or they'll go into their shell. They'll
break down. Yeah,
they'll break down. So I do think they are coddled to that degree. But as far as them, everything being given to them, I wouldn't necessarily say that.
But I would say, in a sense, like, I think it's different the way, because we're gonna get into a young man here later, that the basketball phenom. We're gonna get into him, But I think it's a difference in the way that they're. I don't want to disparage nothing that they've been through or how they were raised or how they were brought up. But it's like so many yes men around people these days, to where nobody's holding anybody accountable or nobody's giving anybody that type of tough love that we came up in. You know what I'm saying? So again, a lot of what Jerry Jeudy is going through right now with the Denver Broncos is a lot of things he can't control. It's a lot of uncontrollables that he has with that organization that he just can't control. Right. He has his first couple of years, he had Drew Lock, who was ass. Then now he's got Russell Wilson, who's on the back end of his career, who ain't playing well. So it's like it's a lot of things he can't control. And is he just another guy? No, he's a professional athlete. He's a high performing professional athlete. He just has things he can't control that is working against him right now. And I don't agree with the just another guy statement, but the way that Jerry Jeudy responded to the criticism, that's what I don't agree with, because and I'm gonna let you talk about it, because you mentioned this when we were talking about topics earlier in the week, but Steve Smith is a person who you can learn from. He was not just another guy. He was a superstar wide receiver with the Carolina Panthers, and a little bit when he went to the Ravens before he was on the back end of his career. So you can talk to him and learn something from Steve Smith. But like I say, these athletes now in this generation don't want to listen to the older guy. But I'm gonna let you talk about that. What you think about that?
No, I agree with that. I think athletes in general, because in America, athletes are put on such a high pedestal. They're seen as, basically not human to a degree, especially if you're a top tier athlete. Yep. So Steve Smith called, and we're talking about Jerry Jeudy and Steve Smith in this situation, but you can really input any analyst or any sports talk person and a athlete in this situation, and you'll get the same thing. Like you've had these feuds go on for quite some time. It's just that social media is big on promoting that stuff, because it, that's what sells. Drama sells. And so when you have this type of drama that you can put out there and get people like us to talk about it, or just get people to look at your page a little bit more, then that's what they're going to promote. But I don't think Jerry Jeudy is just another guy. However, his stats for the last however long he's been in the league. Now he's been playing well this year, I believe. I haven't watched, but he's been playing well. His stats have shown otherwise. His stats have shown he is just another guy. But just like you mentioned, he's been in a situation where the offense hasn't clicked. He's had a couple of different head coaches as well as offensive coordinators. And then, two quarterbacks. So Drew Lock, who is not, so in the NFL, you have to have the quarterback is the key to the offense, or is the key to the team in general. If you have a good quarterback, you always have a chance to win in the NFL. If you don't have a good quarterback, well, you'll probably be one of them bottom tier teams. And that's what Denver has been, is their defense has historically been good. But the quarterback, ever since Peyton Manning left, it's been pretty non-existent. So they've had Drew Lock, who isn't that good, and Russell Wilson, who had his glory years in Seattle, and now in Denver, it looks like he's not going to be in the league too much longer. And that's natural. You want to give Russell some time to, we want to give him some acknowledgement that he did do great things in this league, but at some point in time, it's going to be like, all right, Russ, we gave you those opportunities. Now we're going to look for somebody else. Or maybe he's just in the same boat. He has going through different offensive coordinators, and it doesn't fit who he is as a quarterback. I don't know. But anyway, needless to say, Jerry Jeudy has been, numbers-wise, just another guy. I think the issue is that athletes are so tired of the constant criticism, the constant praise, whatever the case is. And nobody likes too much of anything. Like, too much of anything can be detrimental to you. Right. And so with social media, like I mentioned earlier, being the good and the bad, it allows everybody to have an opinion of what you do, because sports is such a public entity in the United States. And so I think what happens with professional athletes is you have all of these former athletes, whether they were top tier athletes or bottom tier athletes, now going into broadcasting and being highly critical of them. They're not taking any personal shots that I know of, but they're being highly critical of certain athletes' performances. And in this case, Steve Smith was saying, like, on his podcast, because he also has a podcast where he talks about football and sports in general and different things, but mostly sports. I mean, mostly football. And he was rating Jerry Jeudy. And this wasn't recent. I think it was like last year or so. He was rating Jerry Jeudy, and he was saying he's saying he was just another guy. Well, like I said, I believe Jerry Jeudy has been playing better this year. And to what Steve Smith was saying was he was going to him to apologize and say, listen, I know I said some things that were critical of you, but it looks like you're starting to turn it around. And that's when it all feuded. And Jerry Jeudy was like, man, I don't F with you.
Ninja,
so on and so forth. Yeah, Steve still said ninja, but we know what he said.
Yeah.
And so it made it a big ordeal. And then so that's when Steve Smith went back on the broadcast and was like,
all right,
listen, I'm sorry that I said this and that, but you want to act like that. Now I'm gonna tell you what the real is. And honestly, Steve Smith is, when it comes to rating receivers, there's no better person currently in broadcasting, I believe, that rates better receivers than he does.
I can concede that. I can see that.
He said when Cooper Kupp was coming out that Cooper Kupp was the best receiver in that class. Looking to be true. Other than injuries, it's looking to be true. He said that he thinks the receiver from the Ravens is probably one of the better receivers that was in last year's draft. I think, what's his name? He went to Boston College. I can't think of his name.
I can't remember.
Number
his name
4
either.
now. He's number 4 for the Ravens. Can you look that up real quick? But he said he was one of the better receivers, and I think that's going to pan out well for his takes as well. So there's no better person that talks about receivers when it comes to the talent that receivers
John
have.
Pierre-Paul?
No,
Jason
no.
Pierre. No, not Jason. Not JPP.
No.
That's, what the heck?
Number 4. He's number 4 for the Ravens. I can't remember. I'm mad. I can't remember his name. Things like Tay something.
Zay Flowers?
Zay Flowers, yeah.
Yep.
Zay Flowers. Says Zay Flowers was probably one to be the best receivers in that last year's draft, and we'll see in a few years. But I think he's
29
right
receptions,
on with that as well.
317 yards, averages 10 yards per catch. He's not doing bad.
So I mean, I feel like athletes these days are tired of the constant criticism, but especially when it comes from former athletes. And I can understand that if it was me and you that were the ones that are criticizing these athletes, like, bro, you haven't been to where I've been. You can't, the professional athletes, that is, you have no right to say the stuff that you're saying, or anybody that's on social media, whether that's X, which is now Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anything, like to share their opinions about athlete's performance, and they have not actually been to been a professional athlete. I feel like they're growing tired of that. But when you're talking about professional athletes and Hall of Fame type athlete as well, I feel like when they're saying something about you, you should not take into consideration of when they said it or how they said it, but what they're saying, because you could use that as a way of reaching out to get some guidance from them. Because a lot of these older athletes, there are some that will not help you. They don't want to, they just want to do what they do. They don't want to help. But there are more than a few that will say, yeah, so let's set up some time to talk about XYZ. And you could build that relationship. But I mean, I know I went on long there, but yeah, I feel like athletes, especially professional athletes, the younger ones, they can't take constructive criticism because it is the amount of criticism that they get, that they see all the time, rather than who it's coming from.
Yeah, I can dig it. And just to your point, real quick, and we're gonna move on to the next topic. And I swear we find a way to get this motherfucker in here every time. But it's kind of,
I was gonna say it too, but I didn't.
Yeah,
I left it out.
But it's like the Kareem and LeBron situation, where Kareem just wanted to be him and play with his grandkids, and just not even want to be, a part of anything when it came to the NBA after he was out of it. So even whenever LeBron was trying to get with Kareem and talk to him and try to get advice, Kareem was like, nah, that's just not my area of expertise. I'm not that type of motivational type of guy. He wasn't that type of guy when he was in the league either. So it kind of makes sense that he was like that afterwards. But I think Steve Smith is that type of guy who you can go to say, you know, hey, let's network. Let's have conversations every once in a while. So you can tell me what you see and, you know, how I can get better, how I can get back on the performance that you think that I should be at, since you think I'm a Jag. Tell me how I can not be a Jag. And I think he's that type. And, you know, and again, it's not what you say it, but how you say it. So, and I live by that. I live by the fact that, you know, if you want to say something, project it, you know, the way you would want to receive it, so to speak. And I don't think what Steve Smith said on his podcast, I don't think he said it any type of way, but just like D-Lo said, it's like a lot of something can be detrimental. So if he's been receiving that same type of backlash from fans on social media, just regular everyday people that ain't got no stake in the game, it's not a Steve Smith who hasn't played in the league. If you're getting that from them, and then now you also getting it from Steve Smith, who, you know, may have that Jag, he probably took it a different type of way, which he probably should, because I don't think he's a Jag, and I don't think Jerry Jeudy thinks he's just another guy. But if you're hearing this over and over and over and over again, it's going to annoy you. And I'm the same way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But
everybody's the same way.
Yeah. And if it's a regular person, then you can take that you can handle that how you want to handle it. But somebody like Steve Smith, who can give you constructive criticism and actually like teach you something, which this only being I think this is his third year in the league. Because he came out the same year as CeeDee Lamb. So yeah, this is his third year in the league. So this being your third year, you're not living up to the expectations that somebody who's a Hall of Famer thinks that you should be living up to, then talk to him and see how you can live up to that expectation, see what you can do better. But I think all in all, you know, the criticism talk it's hard for a lot of this next generation to take that criticism. It's hard for some people in general to take criticism. But we'll see.
But you got to think about it though. This is the last thing I'll say. Is how you have to think about it with the criticism that they are taking and how they feel about it is, again, we'll go back to social media. Some people feel like, or everybody feels like, no matter how many followers you have, it's going out to the whole world. So I can put something out about you, positive or negative, and you're going to feel some type of way because you feel like, okay, yeah, he has 2,000 followers. I don't know how many followers I got. 2,000 followers, but I feel like that's going out to the whole world, for the whole world to see. So you're going to feel some type of way about it. Not let alone somebody like Steve Smith, who has a big following. He's saying these things about you. They're going out to his hundreds of thousands of followers, subscribers, millions maybe. And now those individuals will take his train of thought and now look at you in a different light and project it on you. And so now those individuals will take their train of thought of who their followers are, put it on their followers. And so it's like a ripple effect. And so now you feel like the whole world is against you because of what one person said that had a big following.
I'm going to combat that a little bit though, because that's why I think me and Jerry Jeudy are a little bit different, because I'm the type that's going to see it. And so say for instance, I'm in Jerry Jeudy's situation, and I'm not just saying this for the sake of our conversation or the sake of argument. I'm saying this because this is who I am, right? I feel like if I saw, say Steve Smith tweets that to 2 million followers, right? And he says, I think Charles Futrell is just another guy. He's just this guy, and he was drafted high, but he didn't live up to expectation, and then it got retweeted and reposted and shared and retweeted. I'm seeing it. I'm the type of guy that's gonna go to Steve Smith and be like, yo, why do you feel this way about me? Like, talk to me real quick. Like, let me know what you think is the reason why I'm a Jag, and I'm gonna work on it. It's the same thing with you. If you my best friend, you got 2,000 followers, and you say it, and it's getting reposted and retweeted and shared and liked and whatever, I'm gonna come to you the same way. It don't matter if you got 2 million or 2,000. I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna go to the horse's mouth and say, look, Why do you feel this way? Give me your insight, and I can work on some things and get to the next level. And that's what I think that's what a lot of athletes or people in general need to have, that kind of thought process. Because if somebody thinks this about you and you keep hearing it, and people, a lot of people have the same thought process of you, something about it has got to be true. If multiple people are saying it, it's got to be true in some kind of way. So try to figure out where the truth is and fix it. But that's just my thought process, though. You feel me?
No, I got you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far and you like what you see, there's an episode on the screen right here. Make sure you click that and view that. We think you're going to love it. Also, hit that subscribe button right there. We still got the goal of 450. And when you're on all your streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcast.